The October Revolution occurred in November 1917, of course, but what if it didn't happen, if it was quickly crushed or just never started? The thing is, even if the Russian Revolution didn't happen, the declarations of independence from Russia and dissolution of the Russian Empire probably still would. Indeed, even if many of those independence movements had communist elements, then it'd still be true that the Russian Revolution didn't happen. The Russian army would probably crush these independence movements if somehow Russia itself stayed together, which is what we're assuming for this scenario. But this would have profound impact in Germany. After all, Russia were their rivals, while they supported the independence movements for other nations within the empire. As such, it would be very easy for socialists in Germany to argue that Russia was simply the aristocratic elite crushing those who resisted them and sought freedom. Considering that in our timeline Germany already had violent socialist uprisings at the end of World War I, it's likely such an uprising would be even more pronounced in this timeline. As such, any scenario where Russia doesn't have a revolution simply swaps a Russian revolution for a German one. The question then is how many Western powers would intervene in such a war? They intervened in the Russian Civil War, but the Russian regime was their ally, Germany wasn't. There'd be a lot of resistance to putting down the popular uprisings in Germany, but capitalist powers wouldn't allow a socialist state to come into existence if they could help it. So Germany would descend into a civil war, while Russia would eventually reclaim all their lost territory, having been spared from a revolution. However, such a protracted civil war would leave a scar on Germany, and this violent suppression of socialism would leave a strong impression on various workers' movements in Europe at the time. It's very likely in the future this tension would result in further unrest for Europe. Check the comments if you're interested in part 2 of this alternative history series.